What's up, everyone? This is the Cleats Up Mics Out podcast with my guest, Matt Levy, who played goalkeeper at FIU for his final year of college, and before that played 4 years at Jacksonville University and is currently looking for a pro opportunity. Matt?
Yeah, guys, my socials, my Instagram will be like right down here, I guess. It's Matt with 2 A's Levy with 2 E's.
Thanks for that. Yep, go follow him on Instagram, and we're just going to get right into it. So the first thing I want to talk about with you, Matt, is early club years and then also going into high school and a little bit of the recruiting process.
So I guess early club years, I'll start from, the very beginning. I used to play rec soccer at this place called Pembroke Pines Optimus. Funny story about that. I actually played with Timothy Weah for a year, and then I didn't even realize how big it was until my parents told me that one practice or one game we had, George Weah came to one of the games, and there was like a whole camera crew, and my parents were like, "What is this? Why is there a camera crew at rec soccer game? Like, what the heck's going on?" And apparently the news was doing a story on George Weah and Timothy Weah playing his first, soccer in the state of Florida, which is kind of crazy.
That's crazy.
And then I moved to this club. I got, picked up by a club that was looking at some rec kids, I guess. And I went to this club called West Pines United, where I also played with Timothy Weah, again, for a little bit.
Nice.
And then I stayed there for quite a while, and then there was a falling out with, I think the head director of coaches and the people who were basically didn't agree with what I guess the DOC was trying to do and with the club and stuff. So I went to this other club called Miramar United Elite FC, very long name. And that was a very new. I went the first year they went because I guess the coaches that I grew up around wanted to make their own club, and it's been doing really well now. They have an ECNL and for the boys teams and stuff, so it's really nice. They've come a long way, I think, and the teams right there. In the beginning, it was a really shaky start. I mean, the teams were not very good. I think I played on one of the worst club teams that I ever played on while I was there. But then I also played on one of the best club teams because coaches realized that me and a couple other guys that changed clubs from West Pines to Miramar realized that we were really loyal to the coaches and stuff, and they wanted to, help us out and get a really good team together. And when that happened, we were doing very well. Then, speaking of the recruitment process, I started the recruitment process very late. I started reaching out to schools very, very late. I think I started the end of my junior year, maybe going into my senior year. I didn't commit until while I was in my senior year, and I missed signing. It was after signing day and all that stuff, which wasn't the greatest, but I ended up getting to a place that I think helped me and helped my career. So, and in high school, my high school wasn't that big in soccer, really. We only had one rival school, which was American Heritage. And it, it's not soccer is not like basketball or football. High school is super important. It's more important for to go to college just through academies or through club or stuff like that. So, I did try the NCSA thing, reaching out to, schools and stuff through NCSA.
It's a platform,
It's a nice platform if you want to get into college soccer, but if you want to go to the top programs, it's college coaches don't really look at it. I got a lot of looks from D2, D3 schools in there, maybe low level D1. But how I got to Jacksonville was they were recruiting me my junior year, and one of the coach that was recruiting me messaged me. He's like, "Hey Matt, we like you, blah blah blah. Send me your GPA." I sent him my GPA, and I didn't hear back from him until my senior year. My GPA was pretty bad. But then I realized, okay, Matt, if you want to do this college thing, you need to focus on school and get your classroom. Step it up in the classroom. So I did really well my senior year. I think I graduated with like a 3.1 which is, it's not bad, but it's like not the greatest, but it's good enough to get you a decent academic scholarship for schools. Yeah. So my ended up going from with Jacksonville mainly because I felt like it was like a place where I had a chance to at least challenge for a starting spot. Funnily enough, I was actually being recruited by FIU before I was like being recruited by Jacksonville seriously. Under the different coaching staff and everything like that. But I came on a visit to FIU, and when I had a talk with them, FIU offered me books, which means, Matt, we have a goalkeeper. You're probably not going to be somebody who we're looking to play maybe for this year or the next couple of years. And actually, the guy, my roommate right now, his name's Tyler Hogan, and he was doing me and him did the exact opposite. So we were both talking to FIU and JU at the same time. We both got similar offers from both schools, and he decided to go to FIU. I just decided to go to Jacksonville. It was a very fun
crazy
story, and now I'm here with him at FIU, which is pretty cool.
That's funny.
But I ended up bringing my GPA up, which helped my academic scholarship. It increased my academic scholarship for Jacksonville, and then they invited me to go to a camp. They invited me to go to a camp, and when I went to the camp, I did really well, and they increased my athletic scholarship. So I really didn't have to pay much to go to a $55,000 a year school, which was really nice. Awesome. And when they offered me that much, you had like an opportunity, and they were looking to like maybe get you in the starting lineup. And so I kind of just had to go there and prove myself. Took a little while for that to happen. I think I didn't get my first start until 5 or 6 games into the season. But after that, I kind of played every single game after that. And that's pretty much like the recruiting process. I mean, if I had to give anybody advice on like what to do,
please,
going into or trying to get recruited, I'd say email as many schools as you want. Get a highlight tape, or get somebody who can make the highlight tape for you to make it look aesthetically pleasing. Obviously, you don't want to just have a wide angle with nobody knowing what's going on the field and where you're at. So. That's super important. Reaching out very early. I was very against going to camps because, it's like a lot of schools, do these camps things just to get money because they're not really looking at anybody at the camps really.
That's how it goes.
Yeah, so like it's kind of like a money grab unless you're like top guys and they invite you to come to the camp, and like, so for example, Jacksonville invited me, they paid for my hotel. And I didn't have to pay to attend the camp. So that was like, if that happens, then sure, go to the camp, and that'll be like good for you. But reach out as early as sophomore year. Start reaching out to schools, saying that you're interested in recruiting, being recruited, or you're interested in going to the school. Do research on the school. So like in your email, you can say something along the lines of like, yes, congratulations on your run to the Sweet 16. If you want to go to like a school that made it to the Sweet 16, congratulations on your run. Talk maybe a little bit about the school. You don't want to make it a lengthy email because the coaches get a lot of emails every day, so they're not going to sit there and read a whole essay or anything like that. But definitely start reaching out earlier. Then it will definitely help your chances in getting a bigger scholarship. And also, if you want to play you have to be playing. It's really important to try and play on the best team possible, because if you go to showcases, how like that there's groups. There's like the top tier group, and then there's like a lower tier A group, B group, C group. You don't want to be playing for a team who's in the C group all the time, because a lot of college teams a lot of high level college teams aren't going to be going. They're going to be going to the showcases with the teams with the academy players and the teams with the top of the ranked very high in the nation, and like their club team and stuff like that for their age group. So, yes, that's about it.
Yeah, well, that's a lot to take in.
It is.
My recruiting process, I guess I'm going to kind of compare this a little bit, but I also got recruited pretty late, but I don't know how many schools you had, like including Jacksonville and FIU.
Or was that a question?
Yeah, that is. Well, ask that question first, and then I'll follow.
I mean, I had a few other schools, but because I did it so late, like they didn't have money, so I was talking to like Coastal Carolina for a little bit. Okay. But they said they didn't have money to come watch my games, and they wanted to see me in person. And then I talked to UNC Chapel Hill, but then they told me, "Oh, Matt, like we don't have money, so you can go to Eastern Florida." I think that's what it was, like a JUCO. And then they said they have a good relationship with the coaching staff there. And they were like, yeah, if you spend a year there, then you can come over here if you do really well. And I was like, no, I kind of had my mindset going straight. Like I didn't want to go to D1 or D2. Like I felt like I knew my ability really well, and I knew I wanted to go to a D1 school right out of high school. So that's also another reason why I chose Jackson.
Gotcha. Nice. Okay. So yeah, you had like you said, you had a few other schools. Yeah, my process was kind of rough because I didn't start getting like contact till my senior year. Like I didn't start getting contact till senior year. Wow. And I had like 3 schools, and I wasn't really interested in one. It was a D2 school, but kind of similar to what you said before about getting put on the books, right? Is that what you said? Yeah. So the coach wasn't even gonna like think about playing me until like 2-3 years down the line. So I'm like, do I really want to go, 4 hours north into northern Vermont? No, not really. And so like the coach is really, really cool. He was like, yeah, it makes sense. Just, keep in contact with her. And then the other 2 schools were D3 schools. And I told each of them that I was like thinking either them or the other one. And the first school, the one I was like more interested in, when I reached out, it was like a Monday. And they said so on Sunday, they already picked up a keeper. And I was like,
oh no.
I wish you could have just told me that instead of like waiting till like I was going to reach out. Whatever. So then I was down to 1. And then the one other school, which kind of confused me a little bit because I would have just picked the other school if the goalie coach from the second school didn't like come out to multiple like club games that I had, but then would eventually say that they wouldn't even have a spot if I was like walk on there.
What?
Yeah. So like came to like it was either 2 or 3 of my club games, and then when I said like I'm deciding between you and the other school, he was like, we don't even have a spot on the team for you. So I'm like, why would you go through why would you waste all your time and come see me?
Wow.
Yeah.
Damn.
So and then I went from 3 to 0 in the span of like 4 days. Yeah. And then so and then I had to like email a bunch more schools on NCSA, but going back to NCSA. Not the high, obviously, especially going into senior year, not gonna be like the highest level schools you're gonna be reaching out to. But I eventually found one school that I would commit to, which, looking back on it, it was kind of like desperation, just wanting to play college soccer. So like, and if hindsight was 2020, I probably would not have chosen them if I was looking like more logically for like my education or whatever. Right. But I got good experience, met a great group of guys past couple of years, past year and a half. But basically recruiting is going to be a very like case by case thing. Yeah. So, but yeah, like definitely reach out as early as you can. I would say be consistent as well. Like don't just send them one email and then just like not reach out to them again.
Spam them.
Yeah, spam them, but like not like every day. Not every day.
Maybe every. I mean, that's what my my teammate here did. My teammate here, he was. This is his 3rd college he's been at in 3 years. Yeah. He was at Georgia State, then he went to St. John's, and then now he's here. And he said when he was emailing FIU, he emailed like every day, like 2 emails every day.
Okay, yeah. So, yeah.
I was like, I mean, hey, they found them.
Yeah, I mean, I guess do what you got to do then.
Yeah, if you keep getting, I think that if the coaches see like a whole bunch of emails from one guy, they're like, okay, like let's actually like see what it looks
Let's
like.
check. Let's check him out. Give him the time of day.
Yeah,
that's true. Yeah, so crazy.
And if you know guys that are playing college, then that's true. That also helps.
That's true. That's very true. So you touched on the next thing I was gonna touch on was like why you chose Jacksonville over FIU or any other school. Well, we already kind of talked about that. So I guess the next thing I want to talk about is like why you decided to leave Jacksonville as a senior and went to FIU.
Well, I mean, I already graduated, so I was technically left after to do my grad school and do my grad year. But why I chose to leave Jacksonville is basically just because I felt like I wanted to be at a higher level. I mean, my years at Jacksonville, we had 1 year where we had a winning season. It kind of sucks to say that, but my first year we lost to Lipscomb in the conference semifinals. We played Liberty, and that was my first clean sheet in college soccer. I mean, playing a lot of that's crazy to say because it took a long time to get my first clean sheet.
Yeah.
Then my sophomore year, we didn't even make it to the conference tournament, and that was that really sucked because the way that conference was set up, there's 6 teams that make it to the conference tournament, and there's 7 teams in the conference, which means we came last. So
that's brutal.
Yeah, it was a pretty sucky year that I can say. We started off really well, so we thought we were going to do really well. We tied FIU actually, which is funny. We could have won that game.
Well,
but we could have won that game actually.
Yeah,
and it was a crazy. That game was insane because the referee cramped in overtime. It was the center ref. Yeah, that was
cramped. Imagine, yeah. That's funny.
But yeah, I mean, we did have a winning season, and that was the COVID year. And I feel like if I could do it again, I'd probably would have left my junior year. Because I didn't want to leave. Go ahead.
Like going into your junior year or after your junior year?
After my junior year, so going into my senior year. Yeah.
That's just
yeah, because I felt like my stock was at the highest at that point. I mean, coming off of my sophomore year, there's no way I could have left JU because we just came last in a, mid-tier conference. I think the ASUN is ranked like maybe 13th out of like 21 D1 conferences.
Yeah.
So yeah, coming last doesn't really help your, what you wanted to do if you wanted to go to a bigger school. So then junior year came around. I was like, I really want to win this year, and COVID hit. And so we had a time to train with the team all of fall, and then, which was like really good as it like pertained to like building like chemistry with the guys. And then in the spring we had our season. Crazy story, made it to the conference finals. We're on a roll. Made it to the conference finals, playing at home, hosting the finals, came first in the South Division. Went down 2-0 to FGCU. And then rain hit at halftime, poured in Jacksonville for about 2 hours with lightning and thunder. Wow. And the referees decided to cancel the game. And the rule for the NCAA was if you didn't play 70 minutes of soccer, the game has to restart. If you played 70 minutes of soccer, the game can end at 70 minutes and the result stays. And then it depends on the coaches if they want to continue the game or whatever. But
yeah,
if the ref calls the game and says the field is unplayable, deems the field unplayable before 70 minutes of play, then the game has to restart 0-0 at a different location or at the same location.
Yeah.
But they deemed the field unplayable, and so we didn't get to play on that field again for the next day. We had a game, I think, at like 12 o'clock at Stetson. So both teams had to drive to Stetson in the morning. And we played at Stetson, and we ended up winning that game 2-0. So we won our conference final on.
Oh my gosh! A rain delay.
A little, yeah,
asterisk.
A rain delay.
Yeah.
A little asterisk by it.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that was. We got into some beef with some people on Twitter. People were not very happy about us winning. I'm not gonna lie. I don't blame them though.
Right? I would be pissed. Too. I would be pissed. Yeah.
Hey, all I'm gonna say is, hey, if you guys were good enough to beat us 2-0 at halftime, should have been able to be good enough to beat us in a full 90 minutes, you know. But
ball don't lie.
Exactly. Yeah, no, that was crazy. That was very. What an insane season that was. I mean, we went to the NCAA tournament and we lost to American on penalty kicks, which sucked a lot because I felt like I could have played a lot better. But then
it's always rough.
That's when I'm like, hey, you know, I feel like I should leave. I was talking to a coach back home that played for that was a coach for Miramar, and I'm like, hey, what should I do? I want to leave, but I don't know if I want to stay. Like, if schools will have money and whatnot. So, and especially because it's a spring, and then boom, you have a turnaround to a fall, and you don't, you know. So I was like, I don't know if I should stay one more year at JU, just, you know, because my credits might not transfer properly coming out of JU. So if I should stay one more year at JU or just transfer right now. I ended up deciding to stay one more year. I'm like, you know what? It's just one more year. I have a COVID year of eligibility that I can try at another school. So I'm just going to graduate here at JU and then, you know, test the waters in the transfer portal during the spring. So I ended up actually graduating until the end of the spring, so I couldn't attend another school until I graduated. So I had to join a team for the fall, which was kind of hard. But yeah, I felt like leaving JU at that time was, you know, important for my career because I wanted to be at a team that was at a higher level. I wanted to go to a top 25 school, and I knew I had the ability to do it.
Yep.
And I just was like, you know what, I want to. FIU was a school that I was, you know, looking at before I was even came to college while I was getting recruited, and I liked the university when I went on my tour there. Yep. So I mean, FIU and FIU is consistently a pretty good team, very good team actually. They're very, so I ended up just deciding to reach out to I just looked through my list. I think I had talked to you about what to do when you're transferring, and like a while ago actually. Yeah. And like just look for if you know you're capable of playing at that level, like look for the top 25 teams. Don't look for the top 3 conferences. Reach out to those schools as much as you can. See how many times or how if you want to play the NCAA tournament, look how many times the team has made it to the NCAA tournament. If they consistently go or whatnot, it's like a one-off thing. But yeah, I mean, that's kind of what I did. And I reached out to a whole bunch of schools. I talked to Tulsa, which is in FIU's conference. I talked to Northwestern in the Big Ten. Wow. I talked to as a grad student, if you prove yourself, I feel like in the while you're playing at another school, it really helps you while you're trying to get recruited to go to another school when you transfer. Yeah. But yeah, that's kind of why I decided to leave JU. That's just because bigger opportunity. It helps me with my pro career, especially because the coaches have a lot of connections here. So
nice. So kind of looping back, if you, let's say theoretically, you were to go back and was like, after your junior year, when you wanted to leave, you did want to leave, what would that have looked like for you? Would it have been another school at that point? Or like you said, your stock was so high, would you have like tested the pro waters at all?
Definitely not tested the pro waters. I definitely wanted to, especially my parents really wanted me to graduate first. Yeah, definitely. So that was one thing I was like, okay, I need to graduate. And that's one thing I really wanted to do. But I think it would have been a really hard turnaround because if you're into the NCAA tournament, a lot of schools are done. They've already done their recruiting in the fall for the spring and recruiting for their so a lot of teams like run out of money. And so I don't know how it would have went. I may or may not have ended up at FIU. I don't know. It would have been a very interesting, but I mean, going back and like knowing how everything played out, I just kind of want to know what would have happened if I did that my junior year. If you get what I'm saying, like
you always want to know that
that what if, like, you know.
Yeah.
So.
Yep. Yeah. There'll always be that what if though. So.
I mean, and what I could have done was also like focused a lot more on getting my credits done. So I graduated in the fall, and then maybe I could have transferred to a team in the spring and spent a spring and then a fall with the team. Yeah. And so maybe I could have done that, and then I would, you know, there's a whole bunch of stuff that could have happened, but you know,
all theoretical stuff, you know.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah. So the next thing I want to get into is dialing more into, rather than like just the athletic pillar, I would say, of D1 soccer, of D1 college, of just playing D1 in general. Like instead of just the athletic side, also like the educational side of it, like how that looks on like game days and like studying and throughout the day for training, whatever. And then also like the mental side of it, like how you say like mentally like in peak performance and like what you do with that. So
in terms of academics, I feel like it really depends on what major you pick. I went to college undecided, so I had no idea what I wanted to do. And then I've heard a couple of my teammates were doing this thing called kinesiology. I'm like, what is that? And then I kind of learned a little bit about what it was and how it relates to like sport and athletics. And I was like, hey, maybe that's something I'm interested in. I want to be around sports. So for my major, I feel like it was a bit easier, laid back. I mean, once you hit like your junior and senior year, when it comes to classes, it's really, if you like what you're doing, it's relatively easy. But for me, like my freshman year, I wasn't really on top of my academics. I guess I didn't learn my lesson from high school. I wasn't really on top of my academics. And honestly, during the season, it is pretty hard to do soccer and school, and
definitely,
you know, if you want to do extra, you know, treatment, and if you want to do extra work on the field and all that stuff between practice and all, you really have to focus on two things. So I got told this, I forgot by who, but in there's three things that you can do in college, and if you want to be successful, you have to pick two. There's a social life, soccer, and academics, and you have to pick two. You can only be good at two. You can't be good at all three. So,
definitely,
yeah, the best recommendation is to pick obviously academics and athletics, and focus on those. Obviously, you will have a social life, but it's not going to be anything near like what some, I don't know if you know, you call them NARPs, non-athletic regular people. It's going to be nowhere near
I'm
somebody
familiar.
who's in a frat.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that's very true.
I mean, I think in my spring, where I didn't do, actually right now I'm not doing school or soccer, so I guess I'm not a NARP right now too. But yeah, you're not gonna have nearly as much free time. You're not gonna have nearly as much free time as you know those people. So having to balance all that is hard. One thing I can say is, you know, if you do have a girlfriend, you know, be smart and don't, you know, spend too much time with her. Because
might have to put her on the back burner a little bit.
Could be a distraction if that's if you really want to succeed in the classroom and on the field as well. I think one thing you could really do is like make a schedule for yourself and have it out so you can see it every single day. Like maybe one day, like write down, okay, I got this. Because if you just try to go off of, okay, yeah, this teacher said I had homework and it's due Thursday, so I'm not going to think about it until next week because like the homework assignments are due maybe the next class or the following week. You're like, okay, I'm not going to think about it, and then boom, Wednesday hits, and you're like, oh snap, I had homework for this class due Thursday, and it's a 3-page paper, and it's like, oh snap, I have to write 3 pages in one night. So yeah, especially if you have like all of those distractions being soccer, not even, I wouldn't say distractions, but all those priorities being soccer and, social life, definitely make a schedule for yourself, plan it out. And also plan out time for yourself as well, because I know we talked about it. Mental health is super important. So
Definitely
have a day where, you're not, during the season, you have like one off day a week. During spring, you have maybe two, like it's set off of like hours, I think. How many hours? I think it's like 24-hour weeks or something like that. But yeah, when you have that off day, try and maybe one of the off days once a week or something, once a month, set it for yourself. Do something that, will take your mind off the stresses of soccer and academics. And also you can like lean on friends and stuff like that if if anything going on that you need to talk about. So that's just one thing I can say about that.
Yeah. I guess a little, for me, my freshman year, I didn't do great, not because I didn't do good in high school. I didn't get like a 4.0 in high school. I got like a 3.4, something like that. But the thing that really messed me up was COVID was my senior year. Oh. And the reason that messed me up so bad was because I thought online classes were pretty cake. They're pretty easy. But
God bless online classes. God bless them.
Right? Yeah, they were so easy. But the reason I did so bad my freshman year is because they were easy and I could just slack off and not pay attention in high school my senior year. So my time management wasn't good, all that stuff wasn't good, because those senior year classes were just I don't know.
Senior year is the easiest year of high school.
I know. It is.
I did say that I had to tighten up on my senior year, but the fact that senior year was super easy also helped my case.
That's true. That's very true.
Because I had a really good time my senior year, and plus I just learned that that you have homework and stuff. Just do it and you'll pass. That's really it.
Yeah. I didn't realize it. I don't know how it was for you, but my time management has not ever been good, I would say. Mm-hmm. But it really got exposed in college, really badly. I don't want to get into too much. I don't want to get into too many details with it, but terrible time management. So I've been trying to buckle down with that. Been doing a couple of things with productivity and making sure my assignments are all organized to stay on top of those things. But we'll see how that goes. We'll see how that goes.
Yeah. Look, there's apps for everything nowadays. Yeah. So if you need an app to help you organize stuff, go for it. If you need an app to help you stop using certain apps on your phone, which I just downloaded this thing called Opal.
No
ad. No #, no ad. Not an ad.
Right. Not sponsored. Not sponsored. Not sponsored.
But yeah, bro. That thing it sets time limits on how long I can use apps during the day. And so that really helps me focus on getting to bed on time, and that's super important as well in college. You got a lot of homework, but try and at least get your sleep. So,
yeah, definitely.
That helps so much.
Yeah, that's definitely a lot of important stuff you got to focus on. Too many things you got to focus on sometimes.
College athletics is a bit crazy.
Bit is an understatement for sure. Yep. Yeah, I guess getting a little more into the mental health side, you touched on it a little bit. Take a day out of a month if you can even find it during the season. What's your opinion on going to counseling? Would you ever do that for yourself? If you needed it, do you think you would ever do that?
I don't know. For me personally, I feel like my friends are my counselors, and I'm religious, so
okay.
I don't know about yourself, but I can talk to God whenever. He's always listening to me. So I feel like one thing I learned is that you don't stress about a lot of things, because if you can't fix it, and if it's out of your control, if you're stressed about it, it's not going to make the situation any better. Yeah. So basically trying to put yourself in that mindset, and what I do is if I'm going through something, I just sit myself in some prayer, man. I feel like that helps me personally. And if I do need advice from somebody, I can reach out to my teammates or my friends that I feel like I'm really close with. And I mean, if they're your good friends and good teammates, they're not going to give you some bad advice, you know?
Yeah,
so,
definitely.
Yeah, especially if you're going through stuff, you definitely confide in somebody that you feel like is there for you and, you know, like wants the best for you. But if you don't feel like you have that person, then yes, I feel like going to a counselor is definitely could help.
Yeah. I mean, for this past year and a half, the past year and a half from the school I transferred from, I was around like everybody there was religious because it was like a Christian school.
Okay.
It's not the reason I went by any means, but like I think for me being in that environment, it felt very forced because you like, since it was like a small liberal arts school, like a private school, you had to go to like church. It averaged out to like 3 times a week for 10 weeks. This semester was 3 times a week for 10 weeks. Yeah. So I don't know. For me, that felt very forced. And then like on top of that, you had to take like courses that were based, you know, had that like religious base to it, which, you know, isn't bad necessarily, but it's like I was a computer science major and most of those classes like are not going to help me in my career at all.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But, you know, by any means, like having a religion, like being religious is, I'm not saying I'm not religious. I try to, you know, stay as religious as I can. It's just like, I feel like I kind of got pushed away because of that, like because it got like forced upon me. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's one thing I can say is like, when you feel like you're being forced to do something, it's the least, like the less you want to really do it. You know?
Yeah, exactly. So, it's like force.
For me, a pet peeve I have is like, my mom tells me to go take out the trash, right?
Exactly.
Like, okay, I wait like an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours. I'm like, you know what? My mom said I'm gonna go take out the trash. I'm gonna go take out the trash. I go take out the trash. Matt, I told you to go take out the trash. Like, okay, yeah. I don't even want to take out the trash.
You know what? I wasn't even gonna do it in the first place. Yeah. No, that's exactly the same for me.
Mm-hmm. But that's like, I think that's one thing with me is when I felt like I was getting forced to go to church by my parents, like, you know, throughout high school and stuff. And when I went to college, I really strayed away. Like, and I think I didn't make the best decisions in college, in my first couple of years in Jacksonville. So, I feel like, I mean, that's something I feel like people, you know, this is what you're going through. Like they're going to go through some, you know, ups and downs and like in their faith and stuff. So,
yeah, definitely.
But I mean, I went to this past summer. FIU coach actually helped me go to this team in Charlotte called the Charlotte Eagles, which is a Christian USL 2 team.
Yeah.
You've heard of them?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going there again this summer.
Nice.
But yeah, one thing I really took away from that was the coach told me, his name is Mike Steffens, he said he thinks relationship is more important than religion. So your relationship with Jesus is more important than religion, because religion's man-made, and like, you know, like we're not going to be perfect and follow the rules all the time because, you know, we're just sinful people. But
that's very true. Yeah,
for nature. So yeah, that's kind of what really helped me, I think, my last year here at FIU, and then being in that club really helped me as well, because I got injured the first game of the season and was out for the entire summer, and that really, I think, sucked because my plan was to play the whole summer and then come to FIU and get the starting spot and play, and God was like,
out. No. Yeah.
God was like, no, that's not what your plan is. So, yeah, I mean, that's being in that environment. I feel like if I was somewhere else and that injury happened, I think I'd be in a completely different headspace. So, yeah, that's kind of why. Speaking of the mental health aspect, like when I went through that, it was really tough, and being around the people that I was around and learning a lot about, you know, my faith and stuff, I think really helped me mentally and be in the right headspace.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Nice. That's awesome. Yeah. Yep.
I didn't think they would have taken that turn, but I mean, I feel like it.
Yeah, no, that was a good turn for sure. Yeah, no, that was definitely a good turn. Yeah, I mean, no, there's really not a good transitional point for this, but the next thing I kind of want to, the next thing I want to talk about is just like, I played Division III, so I would not know anything about this personally, but you would, because you've been in multiple programs. Can you like dive super deep as you can into like division and anything Division One?
Anything Division One. Oh, okay.
Anything and everything Division One.
Okay, well, it's kind of hard to really compare Division One to like another division because I haven't played at any other division, so I don't. I can only talk about what as it compares to other schools, how through like what my friends have told me.
Yeah.
So I have a friend who plays at Nova Southeastern University, which is a D2 school, and so I know that like the way the NCAA tournament is set up is a bit different for D2 and D3. I know. So for D1, how it works is, which I just found out this year, which is crazy. Really? But some conferences don't have a conference tournament. They just have a conference regular season, and the team that wins the conference regular season goes to the NCAA tournament and gets the automatic bid.
That's interesting.
Yeah, and I don't know the exact number of how many automatic bids there are and how many. I forgot what the other one was called. The ones that the team
at large bids.
At large bids. That's
okay. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know what numbers those are. I mean, I guess you could probably look it up, but
yeah.
Yeah, so how it works is the teams that win their conference, you go through a regular season, you win your regular season, that's good, but that depends on what conference you're in. But if you win your regular season and say, I think the West Coast Conference, they don't have a regular postseason tournament. So say if you're in the West Coast Conference, you win your regular season, you go automatically to the NCAA tournament. For any other conference, you go into your conference tournament. Depending on the conference tournament's a bit bigger or smaller. So like ACC has a huge conference tournament, and Jacksonville in the ASUN had a pretty small conference tournament. I think what conference is High Point in Campbell? I think Big South. Yeah, Big South has a pretty small conference tournament. But yeah, you go to your conference tournament, and if you win your conference tournament, then you get the automatic bid to the NCAA tournament. And that obviously doesn't make up every single spot in the NCAA tournament. So, top ranked teams that didn't get that win their conference or the regular season or whatever, get picked by the NCAA board, I guess, to be a part of the NCAA tournament. And then they have like a watch party, I guess, where they give you like the rundown of what the teams are going to look like. It's kind of like March Madness, when you watch it. Yeah, it's kind of like that. And you see all the teams and like teams that, are on the fringe of maybe getting a bid, who like they did good during the season but didn't win their regular season or didn't win their conference tournament, or maybe sitting around in like a private room because like you don't really want to sit out in front of like the whole school when you're like, maybe we might make it, maybe not.
Yeah.
So sit in a private room and stuff like that, and then they'll hope to see their name get called. Let's see what else we're going to talk about. I think in terms of academics at the D1 level and academics at the D2, D3, NCAA, NAIA, JUCO, I think all the other. I don't really know if there's really much of a difference in terms of like education level. I mean, obviously, like the really big universities like Alabama, UF, FSU, obviously, like they're big universities and they're D1. So yes, they're going to have a really good education and really good athletics. But in terms of like schools like FIU and like Jacksonville and other like not very big universities, I feel like the education is like pretty even throughout the board. There might be other D2 schools that have better educations, I guess depending on what major you're doing or whatever, that has they're a bit better at whatever it is So I don't think it really matters. If you want to go to D1 specifically for education purposes, then I feel like you should shoot for like the top schools that are really big.
Yeah, definitely.
Because that's when, and then I guess if you want to worry about like, and then if you like doing the recruiting process, you're obviously going to want to look at a school that you would want to be at outside of, athletics, like the school, So yeah, that's really what I have to say about that. What else should I talk about Division One? What is it like? The level I can say in terms of like the athletics part. There are some D2 teams that can beat some D1 teams. Like some D1 teams really aren't like the greatest. But I would say that at the D1 level, there are a lot. It's a lot more competitive than I would say D2 and D3.
Like
the amount of teams that are very good. I'd say like maybe in D2 there's like let's say like 25 teams who are always like top 25, really good or whatever. And then like maybe D3 there's probably like 10 teams that are like, the teams, I don't really know how many, but I feel like that number grows each level you get at. So I think D1 there's a lot of teams that are really good, that have really good players. I feel like the difference between really good D1 schools and okay and not so good D1 schools is the range of the quality of players they have. So when I was at JU, the quality of the player was like, these guys can play at top D1 schools, and then there's guys here who are like they could play D3, JUCO, NAIA, and they are playing at the D1 level. And then I would say, while I was at FIU, everybody's like pretty much up here, and then maybe you'll have like a guy that's like here or here, but it's not that big of a drop off. And then like the top
range
teams,
isn't that big. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. And the quality, I feel like anybody could go in at any time, and like our rotation here at FIU was very deep. We had a very deep rotation. I think we played like maybe 19 players or 18 players a game, which is like
that is deep. So that's very deep.
And if we have somebody that's out or injured, somebody who's sitting on the bench can come in and the level won't drop. You know what I'm saying? Like practices are super competitive. I can't speak for all of D1, but the difference between here, FIU and at JU was at FIU, the mentality of the guys here are completely different. Like everybody is on it. I mean, everybody wants to go pro here. So you would see, I think, a lot more people in the training room more often. People's routines are a lot, I'd say people's routines here at FIU are a lot better than when I was at JU. And I think that just helps motivate you as a player when you see these guys like doing really well and doing the right things and they want to go the same place as you. I feel like that pushes you to want to do better and stay on top of your stuff too. And then while I was at JU, I mean, I had a friend that was there that he decided to stay for his senior year. He was my roommate, and he was telling me like, yo, we are last in the conference and we just lost to a newly promoted Queens who just came from D2 and we're not that good. And then we lost them and people are laughing in the cool down. Like, bro, this is like, it's not the right mentality that you really want to be around. It's like, hey, we're last right now and we're laughing. Like our season's not just about to end if we don't win these next two games. You know what I'm saying? That here, you if you lose a game here at FIU, it sucks. Like it feels horrible. Like nobody's making jokes, nobody's laughing. Everybody's like, because I feel like winning is such a huge priority when you're on a really big school, or like a high level D1 team. And then I guess. I mean, this doesn't go for every school, but FIU is the only school that shares a practice field with an elementary school. So,
an elementary school?
Yeah, we have to practice. We have to practice at 7:50 because at 9 the elementary school kicks us off.
What the heck?
Yeah, it's funny. It's like half of the half the field is owned by the elementary school, half the field is owned by FIU. So Wednesdays we have to train on the game field, and because I guess they're using it earlier, and then Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday practice at 7:50, like early in the morning. Yeah, then we got to get, if we stay on too long, yeah, the middle schoolers kick us off, our elementary schoolers kick us off, which is super funny. But yeah, and then the facilities, I guess I can speak a little bit about facilities.
Yeah, please.
I guess it depends on how much money your program has. So like,
yeah, definitely.
FIU and JU were both blue collar schools, I'd say. Like they didn't really have, we didn't like have all the money. Like, I mean, we got what we needed, and so it was. We had what we really needed to be successful, but we didn't have everything. We didn't have like, if you see like the LSU football locker room, you look at that and you're like, whoa, like this is what D1's like. No, it's not like that everywhere in D1. Yeah, like the FIU locker room is pretty small. I think the JU locker room is a bit bigger. But I think you have a lot more access to better like athletic trainers and nutritionists. I don't know if you have any nutritionists at the school that you went to, but yeah, like we had nutritionists. We had people who help us with like mental performance, like as a team. So we did like, if I think here at FIU, I mean, we did it at JU too, which was like one of the professors who kind of like helped us out. We'd go and we'd do like team activities and try to like help with how our team is doing mentally and trying to get us on the same page as a group. And then we did that here again at FIU, but with I think 2 PhD students. They were awesome. I think the meetings that we had with them were super beneficial to like our success in the season. What else? Social life, I guess, in D1. Again, I feel like it depends on the universities because I feel like there's some D2 schools that have a really, really like big social life. The 2 schools that I went to didn't really have like frats where there was like a big party scene. I mean, being here in Miami, obviously people like to go out and stuff. But I think the social scene, I guess, really, really depends on you if you want to go out and meet new people and like, meet people around campus, join, I don't know, clubs. I mean, it's really hard to join a club when you're playing college athletics. So, but yeah, you can definitely go out and, meet people. Like a lot of universities have areas where there's like a little game center or something like that where you can go and, find people to meet outside of your soccer team. And obviously you can meet people in your class and stuff like that. I think meeting people in your classroom really helps you in terms of like when you're traveling and stuff, and they'll like help you with the notes and help you with like assignments that you weren't there, that you didn't understand and stuff like that. But yeah, I feel like that's across the board. That's more of like a college thing rather than like a Division I thing, I think.
Yeah, no, definitely.
I don't know. What do you think?
I have a couple. Actually, I have a couple of things I want to ask you about. So, you were just talking about travel. So, how did travel work? Was it always by bus for you guys? Was it by vans? Was it by
FIU or JU?
Both.
Because it was a bit different for both.
Bit different? Yeah, let's do both. So, JU first.
JU was a lot of bus rides and van rides, except for when we traveled to like someplace really up north. So like if you had to play Lipscomb, Tennessee, that would be a flight. If you had to play NJIT, that'd be a flight.
Jersey, that's a flight.
That was a flight. But for the most part, budgeting, we took buses everywhere. North Carolina, 9-hour bus ride. Yep, let's go. Let's do it.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Yeah, no, I think, well, it's not, from Jacksonville to North Carolina, it wasn't 9 hours. It was like 5, but it's 9 hours from here.
Okay.
From FIU. Yeah, no, we'd always fly. Here at FIU, we're flying everywhere. Like,
Flying everywhere.
The budget
wish.
is a little bit bigger.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. Flying is so nice.
Oh my God.
Been on a lot of planes this year.
Oh,
Yeah. No,
that's
not a lot of
awesome.
driving. I think the budget I think here at FIU is a bit bigger than maybe the budget at JU.
I bet, yeah.
Especially with FIU winning their conference regular season last year, they probably got
little bonus for that.
Stuff like that.
Yeah.
And making it to the NCAA tournament as well. So 2 years consecutively making it to the NCAA tournament, your budget's going to be a little bigger than a team that struggles to make it to the NCAA tournament.
Yeah,
so
definitely. That makes sense.
But yeah, I think that I got to give credit to the JU coaching staff though. They really did a lot with the budget they had. So and here at FIU, when I first saw we get cleats, what? It was crazy. It was the greatest thing. I didn't get cleats at JU. I mean, we had a voucher to get cleats, but yeah, it didn't really work out so well. If you wanted to get a $200 pair of cleats, you'd still have to pay $100 because the voucher is $100. And so and you only get one pair. So here at FIU, I got 3 pairs of cleats. It was crazy. I was like, what? And they gave you
oh my,
gloves and all that stuff. I'm like, yo, I'm
that's perfect. That's
spoiled.
Perfect. That's perfect. The next thing I wanted to ask is gear. So keep going into gear.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I mean, they FIU. They gave you gloves, and I think this is the bro. When I saw my locker, I was like, yeah. When I saw my locker, I came in. I was like, yo, so much stuff. And then the coach was like, oh yeah, we got more stuff coming in for you guys. I was like, what? Yo, hoodies, everything.
Wow.
It was crazy.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, the gear. I guess that is one thing. Yeah, the gear at the D1 level, you do get, depending on what school, obviously, you get a lot more gear. Yeah, well, being with Set GK, obviously, and not, wearing the gloves that they give me when it comes to games time and stuff. I mean, I'm taking the white Venoms over anything. So.
For sure, white Venoms for sure.
Yeah, bro, those are my game gloves the whole season. I love them.
Really?
Yeah, I think Set does a really good job with the durability of their gloves.
I love their durability.
I don't know what they do, but it's super good. I love it.
Yeah, I love it.
I need to get a couple more pairs now. But yeah. I mean, what else did we get? We got team shoes. We got our travel shoes here. We got Stan Smiths. Crazy. Ooh. Yeah, they're so cool. Yeah.
Okay.
And I mean, some D1 schools you'll get shoes with the team's the school's name on it. I don't know how I feel about that, but it's cool to wear around campus. But if you want to go out, you're not wearing some.
That's kind of corny, yeah.
Yeah,
it's a little corny. Yeah. So how much of it did you get to keep? So obviously I would guess the shoe, all of it, the hoodies, the pants.
Yeah, everything.
What?
Yeah.
The only thing
next year.
I'm trying to think. The only things I got to keep the past couple of years was training gear. So our training tops, our shorts, and then we got a pair of shoes last year and a pair of shoes this year that we got to keep.
Yeah. I'm sure. Did they ever do this thing where it's old gear and then the coach is just like, hey, look, we just put a whole bunch of old gear in the locker room. Come take it if you need. Take it if you want.
Nope.
No,
they had more. No, dude, they had more vintage gear that we could buy for $5, whatever.
Buy?
We had to pay for it. Yeah,
that's crazy.
I know.
No.
No, but I don't think they've updated the jerseys for 3-4 years.
Oh wow!
Got new gear for 3-4 years.
Dang. No. They get new gear. Here at FIU, they get new gear every year. And then I think they changed the jerseys. They changed one jersey. So one jersey lasts 2 years. So this year they changed our home kit from last year's home kit. And then next year they're going to change the away kit. So they're going to have the same home kit from this year. I think they might try and get a third kit. I have no idea what they're going to do. But yeah. Yeah, dude. When I feel like I got spoiled when I came here. These guys, some of the guys that were here like for all 4 years, when I told them the struggles that I went through, they're like, what? Like, dude, I'm spoiled. Like, I didn't even realize. I'm like, yeah, dude. Like, y'all are getting good treatment. You guys have been getting good treatment. Because you look at like, I don't know, Clemson, like all the stuff they get, and I'm sure they get to keep all of it. The guys like here at FIU, they're probably like. Yeah, they're probably like, oh wow, well you see Clemson, they get this. We don't get like as much as they do, but FIU gets so much stuff in comparison to so many other schools.
Yeah, that's all I have for you. So, want to close and say thank you for your time. Hopefully we'll catch up again
thank you for inviting
in the future.
Me, bro.
Of course,
yes, sir.
Yeah, let's keep in touch. Maybe get another one of these going after you become a professional, and
that'd be dope. I'll talk about that experience.
For real. Yep. All right. So thanks everyone for watching, and this is Matt Levy. Sorry, Matt Levy. Yeah. Cleats Up Mics Out podcast is a wrap.